In the land of dreams we call the river of life, there exists an energy that not everyone has understood. Mary Jane, the gateway to paradise, the very key to your elemental heart, to your awakening to transformative moments, the great sunrise inside that brings forward new life. Yes, indeed, a reunion of heart that's cosmic. Mary Jane, no matter how you've used and abused or how misaligned this beautiful energy may be, she's here to set us all free. Mary Jane, gateway to paradise. Won't you join us as we discuss the beauty of her wondrous ways? Hey, welcome once again. Babies, welcome back, I should say, to another beautiful evening of Mary Jane, Gateway to Paradise. You know, you want to get it right, you want to get it nice, you want to realize a whole lot of good things in your life. Stick with MJ. She'll help you along the way, man. You know, many people have misunderstood this sacred little herb and have taken it to mean something far different than what it is, you know. Here in this energy of this sweet little plant represented by our humble MJ on our little Koyote coffee mug, you see, exactly. Yeah, see, there we are, yeah. Hazy Radio. We're on in the mornings over on Hazy Radio, if you're ever over there. There's our little MJ mug, or one little version of it. And babies, it's like the holy chalice, this sacred chalice of love, baby. Drink a little sip out of that. It's like taking a toke of your favorite herb, you know. So let's do that right now, too. A friend this week just happened to deliver to me a little bit of connoisseur kush. We'll try that stuff out right now, babies. Babies, that's righteous. I mean, that is the stuff. Now, you know, out here in Colorado, where we've been legal for a while, and where even before it was legal, man, we were refining our growing techniques crazily here. And there's a lot of real dedicated growers out here that just really love the plant, love the energy of it, and really want to see her thrive, you know. For them, it's about more than just the money, you know. I mean, the money's nice. It's not big anymore like it used to be, thank goodness, because legalization's taken the price down a bit, you know. But if you raise quality stuff, you talk to your plants and you treat them right, you know, they'll treat you right. And they'll bring you back to life and bring you back to life economically as well. You know, I had a friend that I was engaged in an enterprise right after the legalization of the plant, you know, and I didn't really trust myself. Hey, for those of you who don't know, I am Grandpa Coyote, the veritable Pope of Pot himself, a high advocate for MJ, and one that helps her along the way, because she sure has helped me. Babies, come out and play. I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be alive now if it weren't for MJ. All along the way, since I was just a young man, I'll tell you, she's been there for me, and she always will be, baby. So, fun, isn't it? Yeah, babies, I tell you. She's a rocking good girlfriend, man. She'll take you by the hand, lead you right into that promised land again and again until you finally get it, you know? Helps you soften up and get it right, man. Oh, MJ, we love you, baby. Hey, we're just waiting for G-Roo to call in. She should be calling in tonight in a little bit. Mary Lou's hanging out there on the fringes somewhere.
I'm here.
Oh, I'll be darned. There you are.
Here.
Just don't see your picture there, honey. Welcome to Mary Jane, Gateway to Paradise. You got any kind words for Our Lady this evening, or anything like that?
Mary Jane is one of my best friends. I just love her. She's with me all the time.
Yeah, just like me, man. We're going steady. Yeah, we're going steady with the same chick. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Don't tell anybody, but yeah.
Oh, hell, this world today, man, it's kinky and twisted as it is. Oh hell, we're normal, man.
It's crazy. I know. The more normal I get, the crazier everybody gets. So
I tell you, that's the way it is.
yeah, I've got a camera, but I didn't know there was going to be a camera, so I don't know if I want to show my face.
Well, whatever you feel like, it's fine with
Okay.
me. We know your heart. We know your heart. We know you,
Yeah.
and I know your face, and I can
Yeah.
convey to the audience the image of your lovely presence. Everybody just take a look at what you see inside. There's Mary Lou. Yep, that hot
Yeah.
chick on that ride.
Yeah. Hanging out in her pajamas and hanging loose.
Yeah. Well, it's good to feel your energy again. Been missing you over
Good.
there on the radio show. I know it's not easy to be over there early in the day like that, but
Yeah,
God.
early in the day, and I try to get up and get some things going, so I'm getting some things done.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's
but I
what.
miss you guys a lot. I think about you, and then this computer I've got now, this cheap thing. Uh, I have trouble with video and stuff like that. So I'm hoping this works tonight. I'm surprised it does. So
Well, that's working great. You're sounding real good. And if you
good.
had, a camera, it'd be coming through clear as a bell, man.
Yeah.
This Zoom program ain't like Skype. It don't crash on you and,
Okay.
take you sideways and south every time you turn around. It's like this
Right.
is a pretty stable program from what I've seen
Right.
so far of it. I sure love it. Skype, I've had nothing but trouble with, over
Yeah.
the years. I've had it for a long time, but it's just, and then they overbilled me. And when I called them on it, they got mad and cut me off. I can't buy soup now. They won't even talk to me. I have to fill out a great big long form to even talk to them. It's like,
Oh, good.
okay, Skype, just keep your Skype. I don't want it. I don't
Yeah.
need it. The only place I run into it very much is on the radio show for other hosts. If I'm trying to help them out or something, it's like I
Right.
was trying to get one friend started on his show, and it was really difficult. At the time, I didn't know about Zoom, but it was really difficult to get that thing together and try and get it to where you could have three people on a phone call and have it broadcast out through your SAM. Took an incredible amount of engineering. It was
Mm,
like crazy work, man. It was hard, and so at the time I just had to, without having the full facility of Skype, I had to use other alternatives. And like I said, I didn't know about Zoom at the time. If I'd have
yeah.
known about that, it'd have been a piece of cake. I just done it on Zoom,
Yeah.
and pipeline that in there. That's the way I got it set up now. I can do Zoom for just about anybody now. It's
How
cool.
many can be on the camera where you can see us?
I don't really know.
You don't
I
know.
would imagine there's like 4 slots there available, but
Right.
I've seen more than that on some of the other shows here. So I'll bet there's I mean, like on Hangouts, you can put like up to 50 people on a screen.
Right.
I don't know if this is that big or not, but I'll bet if we got a number of callers, we could handle them all. I'd have to ask Biggie about that, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's our producer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering who that was.
Yeah,
He,
he's a good guy. He's over there in the European continent. That's why we have to run it on European time. But
oh, okay.
yeah. So how's Trix been up there in the southern Dakotas, man? I mean, yeah, is anything exciting going on, or is it just waiting for the snow to melt? Is it summer
Oh,
like weather?
yeah, yeah. The snow, we pretty much got rid of all the snow the last few days. It's pretty much dried out.
Mhm.
We had a little skip of snow here a couple days ago, but it's beautiful. It's been beautiful.
Yeah,
So
well, that's about what we had. We had a little
yeah,
skip. We had mostly rain here for a couple days, and then
right.
today cleared off, and it was beautiful. It's gorgeous, man. It was
Yeah.
like 65 degrees out there today. It was pretty darn warm.
Yeah. We've got a front deck it's got a little tin roof on it, but we have a thermometer under there, and it was almost 80 today.
Yeah, and that's something, God,
Yeah.
man. South Dakota, man. You
Yeah.
never used to hit weather. You never would hit weather like that out here.
And then
Go back a few years.
Boston was like 32.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
loved
guess
it.
they're being told. I guess they're being told something back there. If you want
I
it to
guess.
warm up, you better start warming up towards each other, huh?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You got it.
There's a place where Mary Jane's got a whole lot of proselyting to do, man, and she's got to win a whole bunch more converts back there in that northeastern section of
Yeah.
America. They're just too doggone uptight. We need more laid back, mellow people. We need to import California to the Northeast and
Right.
show these folks how life is meant to be lived.
The Northeast, they look at the whole pot thing, totally different. It's still like a party thing to them, and for me, it's not a party thing. It's just a way of life.
Yeah. Well, yeah. After you've been in her for a while, that's the way it turns out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Next thing you know, you will be transporting yourself to Hawaii pretty damn quick.
I'm thinking more like Valley.
More like where?
Valley.
Oh, Valley High. Yeah, Valley. You betcha. Yeah.
So pretty over there.
I was dreaming about an island out there, an island planet somewhere out there. There's nothing but islands and beaches, and tall mountains behind them. I think it was called Outer Bimini or something like that. I think we're going to fly away there one of these days real soon. The whole family, man, MJ, of course, will be there to help us along the way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
How's the attitudes of the law up there now? With Sturgis and everything, are they pretty laid back about pot? I know it's still illegal there, but are they pretty laid back about it, or do they make a fuss?
Well, I can't, it's kind of hard for me to judge. There was a small bust here a couple weeks ago, I think of a few pounds, but you just don't, nobody seems like they want to talk about it. So, it's not on the news. It's just not talked about. Yeah.
Is there a push for legalization there at all, or that you know of, or?
Well, no, I really don't, because I'm so secluded up here. But, the friends I know and the things I hear, there's so many people wanting it legalized, and then South Dakota has problems too with the reservations, because the reservations are a totally different thing, and so I think that'll probably present some problems they'll need to work out.
Is it legal on the reservation now?
Hemp is. You can grow hemp, but there's no medicinal or recreational. No, there's it's not legal yet. But as far as I know, though, it's pretty much decriminalized. You just don't hear about people getting busted, with a 1/4 ounce pot anymore.
Yeah. I know. I lived down in Oklahoma for a while, and boy, it was severe down there. I think I was there for a year or two before somebody even offered me a toke. I couldn't believe it, man. It's like, wow. I thought I'd gone back to living in the dark ages or something.
No kidding. I'd have been hitting the streets, saying, buddy, you got a joint, man?
Well, needless to say, I had some supplies with me,
Yeah,
so I managed to get by,
Sure, got to manage to get by. No, I hope it, I'm so pushing for it to be legal, It's just so silly. We've been doing this since the late 60s, early 70s, and it's just ridiculous. It's time to,
Oh, just before I left Oklahoma, a friend of mine who wasn't the wisest person I ever met, but is a really good guy and has a great heart. He grew a few plants there in Norman, Oklahoma, that little college town where everybody smokes pot anyway. Judges included, everybody does.
Sure.
And he was going down for some hard time for like 3-4 years for growing like 20-something plants, poor guy. And
That's
his
crazy.
family was turning on him like he was a criminal and stuff. I mean, these people need some education out there. I'm glad South Dakota's not that bad. But, some of these states in the Southwest, like Oklahoma, I think it's about the worst one. But Texas is pretty archaic about it too, if they don't like your looks, they'll bust you for it and put you away. Just like they can do it in Oklahoma. A joint can get you some time, some jail time. It's
But
like,
Texas, isn't it? Isn't it about ready to roll to medicinal?
it
That's what
wouldn't.
I've heard.
Good. I wouldn't. I'm glad to hear it. I wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise me a bit because it. I mean, Willie Nelson. Think about it. He's like the
yeah,
national symbol of marijuana usage.
yeah,
And good grief, where does he come from? It's not Oklahoma. He comes from down there in Texas, down there in
yeah,
Hill Country. I
yeah.
mean, those old cowboys been smoking pot ever since they realized what a good thing us hippies had going on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Poor old Merle Haggard could just take his, Muskogee and shove it.
Yeah, yeah.
Enlightenment had arrived to the cowboy world. I remember watching that happen. It was fascinating to see the cowboys turn into weed. It was awesome,
Uh-huh.
man.
Uh-huh. I don't think we had to twist their arm very much.
Uh-uh. It's just like everybody else. I mean, I don't care what your state of being is. You do reach a point with MJ where you realize, wow, this stuff really does open you up. It makes life worth living. I can feel
Yeah,
it. You know, I can think much larger thoughts than I ever did before, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The
sure.
routine.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's what I always said. It opens me up so much to life and to the present moment.
yeah.
That I just it's a staple, that's for sure.
Well, now that it's legal here and they can do some
uh,
research, they're finding out it's good for epilepsy. It
yeah,
cures that. It's good for MD. It's good to cure just about any disease when you
anything.
break it down into oils and take of it that way. But the smoking of it, they've already proven is nowhere near as harmful as tobacco, according to them anyway.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah,
really, like,
I can't see where it is. I smoke cigarettes and weed, and I don't know. I'm healthy for my age. I think I'm getting up there, but I feel good all the time. I'm ready to live my life every day and get up and laugh and love, and can't complain about that.
no way, baby. I mean,
Yeah.
I was in a restaurant with a friend today, which I rarely do these days. But anyway, long story short, old couple about my same age sitting alongside of us there at another table, and wow, they didn't say one word to each other the whole meal, the whole time we sat there. I never heard them utter or even make a face at each other or anything. Just sat there
Yeah.
quietly and ate, and they were frail, and I'm looking at them and thinking, oh my God. Thank
Yeah.
God I didn't turn out like that.
Uh,
I'd
yeah,
rather
I
die.
know. I see old couples our age, and it's almost like they think they're supposed to be that way. And I
Yeah,
just don't believe that. I don't care what my number is. I live how I feel,
you
and
bet.
feel pretty
I, I
damn
think
young.
I think if you're meant to die, the best way to die is just on your feet, moving down the sidewalk and just croak. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Just have an easy little heart attack or something. I mean, die moving, die doing something
yeah,
you love.
yeah.
You know what it might be, but
Yeah, I'm finally to that point in my life where I can do that. It's awesome.
awesome, awesome, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I had the chance to check out when I was quite a bit younger. There, in my young for well, I mean, I've been off and on all my life walking that edge, but they're back in my 40s. I started to learn by going to death. I started to learn how life really was. Death taught me about life. And MJ was like so instrumental in all of that journey, going to death and coming back to life. She
Right.
so helped me along the way on that journey, man. I'd have been lost without her in
Yeah.
that one. I might not have made it, but boy, I sure did made it, didn't I? Look at me, I'm
Look
I'm I'm
at you
I'm
now.
yeah, I'm no spring chicken, and I'm not in the greatest of physical condition, but man, I'm alive and I'm buzzing, and I can get out and climb mountains and shit if I want to. You know what I mean? I just have to do it a little slower than I used to.
Well, the important thing you do, Grandpa, is spread love. You spread spirit. You spread energy, kindness. It's just, you're a gift.
Well, I love you, and thank you for saying that, because
Yeah,
that's
you're welcome.
exactly what we're here to convey. It's exactly why I allow myself to be used in this way as an entertainer in the radio and TV biz, on the internet anyway, and having a great time doing it. It's about as free as I've ever been in the media. I've done a little media in my time, but usually there's the don't you say that, don't do this, don't do that. It's like, oh, bite my fingernails.
Yeah. Well, I've sure enjoyed it. I've sure enjoyed meeting you. It's been awesome. So you just keep doing what you're doing.
That's a two-way street, darling. I really love you too. And I
Thank
really
you.
want to get up to Sturgis this year. I want to fly
Yeah.
in. I want to make a good entrance. I don't want to have to come in straggling along with the other 10 million bikes that are coming there. I want to fly in like in an ultralight or something. So I'm working on it. We'll see what happens. I
Wow.
may just
Yeah.
I may wind up having to take a Greyhound up there or hitchhike or something, and then win the big bike at the Buffalo Chip so I can ride back.
There you go. There you go.
I just let them know the fix is on and that I won it already, because I took the time machine and went and looked, and
Right.
said, oh, look at that. I won the bike already, man. Give me
Right.
that.
Would you be able to ride at home?
Oh, baby, that's what you do. Just brum, 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 away you go.
Okay.
Well, of course, I'm a wussy these days. I ain't going to ride in the inclement weather if I don't have to. You know what I mean? I've ridden in rainstorms and nearly been blown off the road. I've been hit by lightning on my bike, et cetera, et cetera. I've, I've done a lot of little adventuresome riding around these old Western states here and had a good time. I'd ride it out of there if I won that big bike. Of course, I don't know. It's so damn fancy. You might not want to take it out on a ride. You might want to go put it in a museum someplace and go buy a little rice burner so you won't worry about it if you scratch the paint a little bit or something.
Yeah, yeah. Or you could sell it and be set for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Those babies they're not cheap.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, there's quite a few bikes given away during that week. I don't, and Buffalo Chip has changed so much that I wouldn't be surprised if they gave more than one away. And then you got what are the big bars? The Full Throttle.
Yeah.
All the big bars are in Sturgis now. So too, it's pretty crazy.
Oh, bars like, and where you go get a drink and show your titties.
Oh yeah, lots of that going on.
Yeah.
They have a zip line there now. My granddaughter works the zip line there every year. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's fun.
Yeah, last time I was there, I think was like 1983 or so. Was the last time I was in Sturgis when the rally was happening. And I didn't get to stay long then. I was a busy boy. So. What happens to your younger days? You let work take up too much of your playtime. But
that's the best thing about being our age. Now we can just settle back and enjoy it, huh?
You darn right, man. And that's what there ain't too much settling back for me. I'm settled in. Let's put it that way, into the groove. But baby, I'm like, just like when I was trucking, I'm putting in extreme hours and pushing myself to what some people would think was the limit, but good grief, I don't have no limits. I got limitless in. So whatever I need, I got, and just like this, camera comes on, Grandpaw comes on. Drunk rock stars, man, that is continually drunk and can't even stand up most of the time. But you stand me up in front of a spotlight, and all of a sudden I become myself again. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the only way I know you. In front of the camera.
Yeah. Well, one of these days we're going to change that.
Yeah, we are.
real soon. I mean, I knew you were in Colorado a while back. I just couldn't get up to Fort Collins. It's a considerable distance from here, and
Sure.
I don't usually have wheels.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working
That
on that this
that
week.
was last April. We were in Fort Collins. We went down there for 420.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What a great place to be for 420, I tell you.
Yeah. I'm trying to get there this year. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. We'll see.
Yeah. I always loved the 420s down there in Boulder. I was there the year that the Columbine happened on 420,
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
There was all of us kids and adults and everybody, like maybe 1,200 people down in this little park that in Boulder having a big smoke in, and the cops were all surrounding us and watching this, not doing anything about it, but watching us, because it was illegal at the time, though it was established.
Right.
It was established part of Boulder. It was like a fabric in the economy already. You know what I mean? But
Right.
anyway, all of a sudden, all them police just started disappearing and running away, running back to their cars. And we heard a bunch of sirens heading south. Wow, and then we started hearing the news about what had happened. Like, oh, shite, you know.
Yeah.
They put a black eye on 420 that day. So
Oh,
we had to,
yeah.
we had to kind of cancel that effect out in 420 of 2008, when this strange little April snowstorm blew in out of nowhere,
Yeah.
at the Kim Cafe there, which turned out to be the center of the universe and the great rectification we'd all been waiting for. And that's, what is that, 7 years ago now, man, almost, another month and it is 7 years ago,
Yeah.
Well, that's our lucky number. Maybe on 420 this year, all those 420s will line up, and MJ will be not only legal and legitimate everywhere, she'll be honored. We'll raise statues to her favor and stuff like that.
I think that's a good idea. I
think
was
we
asked
should,
one time what kind of an altar I would make and who I would dedicate my altar to. And the only thing I could think of was Mary Jane. Who else would I dedicate my altar to?
Exactly.
She's helped me through some hellacious times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound like you're like the female side of the Pope of Pop. Maybe we should get you a uniform and a little hat pin like I got and shit like that.
Oh, wow.
Ring,
There you go.
you gotta have a pot. You gotta have a pot ring, man.
And a pot ring. Wow.
This one's multi-dimensional. I don't know if I can get you guys up close enough to see it or not, but it really has some mystery to it, man. It's not just a leaf. It's not just a leaf. It's several other things too, and you have to look at it for a little bit. It's got like 7 dimensions to it, and it involves the angelic realms and all kinds of stuff like that. A kind of a crossroads energy too, but it's still just a simple old marijuana leaf. Now that's the perfect ring for the Pope of Pot to have, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think if the people came and took a toke and kissed my ring, they'd probably be healed of everything.
Absolutely. Well, I don't have a lot, but I've got a shelf full of some really nice bongs and pipes, and I collect glassware and I just love them. So, yeah.
I got these hard old tile floors here, that Spanish tile on my floors here. Like, when was it? About 4 months ago, 6 months ago, I dropped pipes. I mean, I busted 4 pipes, boom, 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 just dropping them on the floor. I was in a klutzy stage,
Uh-oh. Yeah, I have to go to metal pipes for you.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Stoneworks too,
Oh, yeah, I got a stone pipe too.
Well, I got one here. It was given me by the Algonquin Nation, made me a member of a society up there, but I use it as the pipe of universal love,
Oh, yeah.
The alignment of the nations. That's the prayers I make. And then this morning on the radio show, it came through that, like, okay, kids, all these identifications you've got, these physical characteristics and these tribal tendencies, the color of your skin, the color of your eyes, the shape of them, and the nose, and all that tribal distinction is going out the window when you start to realize, the reality of the collective human, and how we all are born of that original mother. And, all these divisions and shit we've created just start to disappear. And you won't be able to tell a Chinaman from a Russian, from a Poland, from a Icelander, or from, somebody from over here in the hodgepodge place on the Turtle Island, will all be like the same thing. The indigenous and the white folk won't be any different, you see, because we're not anyway. Those are superficial barriers we've created in order to give us some conflict to deal with, so we know what conflict was.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to come that easy. My neighbor is Lakota, and she's, boy, those lines are still real strong, for her, the white man, Indian, yeah.
Yeah, but half of the Indians now, and the reason why they're so embittered, guess what? They're reincarnated, from the past where they were on the other side of things. I mean, it goes both ways. People forget that. They think that this is their identity in the now. But yesterday they were on the other side of that barrel, man, that shot them. You know what I mean? Or shooting at them. I mean, we play different roles in different lives, and we play both sides of the fence. That's what makes it a drama and a comedy and not a serious play. Because
but boy, they do play serious.
Oh, geez, I know. That's what, I've been around those type. You can't tell them anything, but then I just point to Russell Means and say, see, because he was a shining example of what, Lakota really is to be. And he held his hand out to everybody, including us weak little white peoples. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He recognized that reality that we're really all in it together. And the little people are the little people, and the big people are the big people. And that's the real division. But even that is coming to a place where it no longer exists because, the reality has so melded away the divisions, and the reason why I can safely predict and talk about such things is because I see those changes going on inside of myself and a whole bunch of others as we're going through the process of a rock and roll medicine show during the week. The rest of our life too, a lot of interesting and dynamic and powerful things been happening, so it's been quite the deal, man,
Yeah, it's awesome to be around you guys in the morning because there's sure not many people like you guys around me up here. Everybody's pretty closed off and still conditioned, going along with all their conditioning. It's hard to break them out of that.
I know. This is one reason why I haven't started traveling this country just yet, is because it's still a police state out there. Over here it's not like that. And I'm not going to go subject myself to that kind of torment if I don't have to, you know what I mean? I'll wait till it mellows out a little bit. When I get my work moved along a little more, then I can start to travel,
Well, and even like the East Coast, even Denver, the big cities to me are totally different planet. I don't think the same as big city people do. I don't have the same priorities. It's all so different. And the violence and all the police and all that talk, it's hard for me to relate to it.
Yeah, when you live in a place like, these little Christian places, you do. It's like it doesn't make any sense to you,
Yeah, it doesn't. Or the answer seems so easy, if you would just go out in the woods for a while, it would be okay. And, go ahead.
Especially living in Denver down there where the mountains are right next to you is no big deal, I mean, shoot. You can be out there and be alone in no time, and people just don't. Well, a lot of folks do, though. I mean, it's changing, and it's changing fast. And so I think it will ultimately come to that place where it all comes undone. But I don't even like going to Denver these days. Last time I was over to pick up a friend last year, it was like it felt like a police state, Everywhere you look, they were like doing commando trainings with police people. and showing it off so the public would be intimidated. And then
Wow.
there at the airport, there was all this regimented BS coming over the intercom. Please do not do this, or we'll search and seize your bag. Blah blah blah. Oh God,
Wow.
paranoid
Yeah.
geeks, go home. Go home, paranoid geeks. Go back to Nazi land, wherever the hell that is. And don't bug us.
God, that's why I stay home, Geez, that's just crazy stuff. It's just insane.
Yeah, but those are just the cities really are isolated little spots. For all their sprawling urbanity, they're a very, very, very small percentage of the landmass here. I mean, they don't take up 1% of it totally. All of the
But
cities combined
the
don't take up.
population, though, I mean, the population, the people, it's not,
Well,
there's
imagine a city like Boston where they've all been in opposition to one another for God knows for how long, and where violence is just like as normal as breathing. Oh
yeah,
God, I had a friend from that area come to visit me one time a few years back, man. And God, the more she talked, and then she talked about her life, the more my eyes go, oh. I thought I was pretty wise about Boston. Shit, I don't know nothing.
right.
That place, that place is, and just the week, then it come out just the week before that, man. Her old man, her boyfriend had killed somebody at the subway station for spitting on him, had put a knife in him, and and that was acceptable behavior in that town. I mean, nobody got arrested.
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
my
you-
little neighbor, this Lakota, she just came from Chicago and she's lived in Denver. And we had a some kind of a shooting last week down in Rapid City. And she was just all over it. She was like, "Oh, there's been a shooting and all this and all this." And it's
uh,
from the city, and I don't know. We think pretty different.
Yeah, that's true. City folks want to get out of it and want to find a good life, and they
Yeah.
come to places like this, and it takes them a couple of years minimum to
Yeah.
decompress, to
Minimum.
decompress, and they don't ever quite get it that they don't need to call a cop every time they turn around. That
Yeah.
people, that people really do mean friendliness when they say hello to you walking down the street and wave at you driving by, that they really are genuinely concerned for the betterment of your person as well as their own. They're not used to that kind of environment.
Right. And she's not either, she's not very trusting. It's always, oh, I think they're doing this and I think they're doing that. And it's like, well, how can you assume that? We just
Yeah,
don't live that way here. It's
yeah.
totally different. So,
It really is. It is. Yet I've had some really sweet moments in Denver. I remember one time, this was a couple of years ago. I was trucking, and before I retired, I was trucking, and I was laid over, and I had to wait for a load to get off or something. And so I had this place where I park, and Wahoo Fish Taco ain't far from there. I went there to get some food, and I, asked the kid for the senior discount. He gave me a free beer, and then he gave me like my food for free, and then he bought me another beer. He paid for it out of his tip money.
yeah. And
Sweet man. This is not somebody I'd ever met before that I can recall. And wow, but stuff like that happens to me a lot down there in Denver and Boulder and wherever I happen to go. So a lot of it too is like energy we carry.
right.
Because you can walk into a really violent neighborhood and find fast friends and never be bothered, no matter whether you're the only white guy for 100 miles. Don't matter.
Yeah.
If got a good vibe going on, you'll be okay, man. And more than that, you'll make fast friends. I found that true all my life since I was a little kid. I used to make friends with the hobos along the railroad tracks alongside our little farmstead there as I was a kid. And son of a gun, and some of these were pretty hard characters. They really were murderers and bank robbers and shit out there. Rails, there's some bad guys out there, bunch of good guys too, but I found the bad guys to be good. You know what I mean? They had a great vibe. They really meant well to do well by themselves and everyone else. They really did. They just got into desperate places and
Yeah.
found out how easy it was to pull a gun on people and take money away from them.
Sure.
Stuff like And they would talk about it to this little kid, this little 5, 6 year old, 7 year old kid. I learned a lot from those guys, man. I got a bigger picture of life than I would have otherwise from the lame heads that I was living with, you know. I was born into it. I mean, these people that I love them dearly, so I'm not trying to knock it at all. But it's just, it was hard, you know, because I was kind of free spirited and had a really big open heart. And, you know, I got clobbered real young because of that. But boy, around me, the people just, there was a few that might try to shine here and there, but for the most part, their light just sputtered out and they just went along with the program and, you know, talked a lot about Jesus and stole from their neighbors when nobody was looking, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Jeez, though. You know, it's like, wow, what a world, man. You know, and I've always wanted to change that, you know.
Yeah,
Shoot.
me too. Me too.
Yeah. I was born knowing that I would. Yeah, I know you come from over there in Wyoming, and you know, I know that area a little, having traveled in and out of there a bunch. That's
Yeah.
a pretty hard life to grow up in over there. I'm glad you have done as well as you have, Mary Lou. My compliments. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
You're a real cowgirl, you know.
Well, you know, I was pretty lucky growing up. My parents worked, you know, we didn't hurt that bad. We weren't rich by any means, but you know, we had food on our table every night and a nice house and went on vacations every year with my truck driving dad and
Wow.
yeah, so you know, I had a pretty good life growing up.
That's great. Yeah,
You know,
I made sure my kids had a well versed view of the world. I'd start taking them when they were just little kids. I'd take them one at a time. I've discovered real quick you can't take both of them; they'll drive you crazy. But if you
yeah.
took them one at a time, and I had a boss that encouraged that back in those days. He liked me, he liked my kids, and so he liked me taking them. So
Oh wow, yeah, yeah. We never got to go with Dad on the truck. It was,
yeah,
you know, the insurance, and then he just, I don't think he drove at night a lot, so you know, he didn't really
so
want to.
did I. I drive 24/7. I mean, a lot of times I wouldn't even sleep for 3 days. You know,
Right. Yeah. He
you know.
had the run from Casper to Denver for a long time, probably
Wow.
15 years, 20 years,
Yeah.
maybe.
Back when it was really rough to be driving, it's blowing and drifting every night and 30 and 40 below. That's a mean
Yeah.
ass driving, man. That's rough driving, you know.
And I think the docks he had to go to in Denver were on Larimer Street or somewhere like that, you know.
Yeah, right downtown, man. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him cussing those docks in Denver.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. There was some of the produce docks you have to back into over here. My God, they don't give you room enough to get a Harley in there, let alone an 18 wheeler.
Yeah.
Somehow you squeeze it in there, but it takes a while. You know, you have to get
Yeah.
everything just right and try not to bump into your buddy's truck and ruin it. You know, it's like
Scratch
wow.
it all up.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's just part of trucking, you know. But I've always found Denver over the years, even when I was passing through not trucking, I've always found it to be really an open and beautiful town. I've seen some violence there, of course, but uh, mostly I've just found the people there to be open and gracious, really, for the most part. I mean, I've had little old ladies drive by me and flip me off because I just wouldn't drive fast enough in the slow lane.
There you go.
Stuff like that. I mean, I know Denver pretty well, but it's a changing place. I can sense the change coming forward, you know. And you know, I know all about the underground city. Well, not all about, but I do know about the underground city over there and the plans to make it into the world capital as things develop in the old dark way, you know. But it didn't quite go that way now, did it? But I know
Mm-mm.
about all that and the facilities they've had there and throughout the West here too, you know. But a lot of that's been decommissioned, you know. It's no longer in existence. I felt back when I was trucking them, you know, maybe 3 years ago, maybe it was even before that. I don't remember exactly when, but somewhere back in that time frame, I felt the release. See, I've always known Denver was a town held by the gray aliens, for lack of a better word. You see,
Okay.
uh, that's a very loose description, but let's just say by an ET energy, that Denver's energy has been held by this ET energy for quite some time, that they control not only the economic flow there, but also kind of the energetic flow to a certain extent, I mean, as much as they possibly could, of course, and that's part of the reason. But they were just there to guard the powers that were trying to, create a whole underworld thing, here on Turtle Island, because they hadn't had it for a long time. They wanted it back. Long story. But I felt the day when that released, when they were basically deported from Denver, and you no longer had their energy lurking beneath you or around you, kind of watching you go through. I mean, there was still some ugliness going on and so forth. It wasn't like a complete and total instantaneous change, but energetically the fields shifted greatly that day. And I haven't spent a whole lot of time down there since. And when I have, I tell you, it's a little chilling to see the police state stuff going on. But at the same time, I just know that it's fizzling out, that it can't go much further. And that's just what we're waiting for, So it only takes...
What do you think caused the change that you felt?
Oh, well, a lot of circumstances have been falling into place, but essentially it goes this way. The more empowered and conscious that any individual human heart becomes, it adds to the equation of the whole and the choices of the whole, So we've already kind of made a choice to come back now to our full and complete conscious presence at this state of time. And so because of that, and because of the hearts that are moving in that direction, then those that assist us in a more positive way, that have what we'd consider a little higher form of technology, are able to do things like, throw aliens out of underground bases and neutralize atomic bombs and hydrogen bombs and so forth, neutralize missiles, turn time back so bombs don't go off when they accidentally do, and things like that. I have a friend. I have a friend up in the Northwest there that was in the military as an MP and was present when a nuke did go off. Somebody went berserk and smacked it in the right place with a hammer, and it did go off. He happened to be there present witnessing when it did, so he was right on top of the explosion and remembers the effect of being people in front of him being dematerialized and blown into him, and him blown into people behind him and mixing with the building and so forth. And then all of a sudden, everything was back to normal. The bomb didn't go off, but people were coughing and choking up smoke and blood for a few days, so they shut down the whole base and terrorized everybody and told them if they ever talked about it, they're all dead.
Damn.
But see, something like that and stuff like that. See, and I've heard story after story like that, not quite as powerful as that, but like that through the years from different people, So I get this little bit of outside verification, you see. But it's just been the last few years, and I think it really is. 2012 was pretty damn powerful. I don't think too many people realize what really happened there, and what the effect is in the moment of now. But the moment of now is such that our angelic assistants are completely empowered to assist us in any way our heart determines that is productive for us. And that includes the closing down of underground bases that our own military, through corrupt practices, has established with certain alien races, as we would call them. Understand, nobody's an alien. Everybody is in this boat together. All life is unified, But we're just starting to find that out. We've played it a different way for a long time. But
wow, I've got so many questions. I'm not going to inundate you with questions, though. I just wow.
Well, you can throw a few. You can throw a few at me because I do. I've lived this story, so I do know it.
I know. There's just a lot of questions. Is why don't they show themselves? Why can't we know them? Why can't I know the alien?
Consciousness, now they can materialize. But see, you got to understand too that a lot of the so-called alien races and ETs that we've been dealing with may be a holographic presence or a holographic representation of somebody else that's playing an act too, just like we are. You know what I mean? You got to remember, this is a matrix. So a lot of what we've been taking as a secret reality might be a part of the greater deception of the angelic realm, who's been messing with the military mindset for a long time and trying to corral it in, and finally got it in a place where they could do it, by totally deceiving the hell out of it. But yet it wasn't a deception in a way, but got them to thinking they were dealing with some really dark and powerful forces, when in fact they were dealing with an angelic presence all along. So there's going to be a lot of shocking, just like they were insane when the military bases started shutting down. Now they're seeing things like they have these serums and drugs that they can use on people to keep them young forever, and get their bodies to regenerate and shit. Well, they've been giving that to a certain individual that happened to be a leader during the times of World War II, and he was supposed to be their reincarnated baby and all that shit. Well, guess what? The effects of that young stuff all of a sudden have reversed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all across the board, where there's been all of these dark and ugly practices going on, including, the supposed warfare in space, galactic warfare and so forth. All of these things, bases on other planets and shit, all of these things, are being revealed to be something far different than those who participated in the situation thought it was. I mean, across the board in life, we are, for the most part, dealing with angelic presences in every instance, whether it's an ET or a fellow human being, or an alien presence, or a UFO in the sky, etc. Even if it's built by man's hands, it was angelically inspired. You see, the cosmic deception here just goes off the charts. But it was necessary to create it in order to create the reunion, so it could bring everybody back to the same heart, the same presence of consciousness. See, that's what the human experience, really in a bigger scale, besides all the valuable experience we've gained here, was all about, was bringing our divided family back to a uniform heart so it could be present in itself again. And so, in other words, a way to keep us from feeling divided from anything. So there wouldn't have to be demons and angels. There could just be life, happy life, living in forever in a very deep and feeling powerful way, because it's unified now. And it always has been. The division is the illusion, you see. So that's essentially what you're seeing happen in those realms right now, is the dark secrets are given way to the truthful reality. They created the energetic gateways by going there, and what they thought were dark ways, they actually unified energies that have been divided for a long time. So again, they were used in destructive ways for very creative purposes. We had to give them a reason to go from point A to point B and so forth, and so we did. And when I say we, I'm talking about the angels speaking through me, but we work as a unified unit, the angel realm and the human being. We work as a single unit. We're the same family.
Well, the angels are of the universe, right?
Well, everything is, but the universe is the angel.
So yes, we are angels. Then we are the angels. Yeah.
All of us, from the planets to the stars, to the people that live within and upon them, and all that. It's all angelic, all of it.
So much to think about.
Yeah, really. When you start to realize this stuff, is when you're living it. It's not something you can believe. I mean, I couldn't believe that. If somebody told me that, let's say 2 years ago, I would have told me, shit.
Right.
But you start to live it, you start to see it. As I've gone through the past couple of years, they've been really instrumental for me on a personal way. But all of this stuff that I've always had questions about, that's come off and on to me through my life, now starts to fall into place and make perfect cosmic sense. And I'm starting to put together the real story here. So that I can reveal it to everybody else, so they can remember it and live it too, right along with us, you see.
Right. Well, you've certainly helped me on my journey. I'm still, I'm meditating more. I'm not as deep as I want to be. but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to, I'm still learning. I'm still practicing, but
Hey, we are, yeah.
it's great. I mean, it's open. It's changed my life actually, but, I'm getting there. I hear you talk about, the beautiful things and all that. And, I'm getting there.
Well, baby, and and we're here to help you each and every day. Besides, right
Yeah.
here, right now. But this video I uploaded, I think it was yesterday or this morning. Maybe it was this morning. I think it was right after the radio shows when I uploaded it. But anyway, what is it? It's the news flash. No, it's the Good Morning one. That's a couple days ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That
I didn't
that
see
one
it yet.
that one gives you my view on communication these days. I don't call it meditation. I call it communication because I don't want to associate it with anybody's practice. It's everybody's practice, But anyway, I talk a little bit about it there. But essentially, it boils down to this: that if you just give yourself some time and you get off, but as you do, and you get off quiet by yourself in your home or in nature or however the weather will accommodate you, but nature is really important. And you just get yourself to a quiet, as private a space as you can find, and just be there with the nature around you. Close your eyes and just begin to absorb and feel and invite the assistance. Automatically, if you put a little focus on the middle of your forehead, just a light little bit of focus on the middle of your forehead, your third eye area, and you'll start to notice a little energy in your hands. And that's essentially it. From there, the energies and the angels and the spirits that work with us will just pick you up and take you along, and you'll find a far deeper path than what you've known before. And even when you're not in those moments, you'll find little awarenesses bubbling up in you as you go through the day, sometimes rather large ones too. You start to, just like when you started smoking MJ and you started seeing things in a different way. Well, this is another level of that. You start to see different levels to moments in your life. You have varied memories of the same moment. You wonder how that can be. Well, it starts to assemble in a place that's a little bit beyond time, because you do live simultaneous lives all the time. Really, right now, living in this lifetime, we're living every lifetime we've ever lived at the same time. They're kind of simultaneous. We go around these big spirals, these big circles, and they go up and up. But the lives we're living match the energy of the life right below it there. You see, and it goes all the way through the spiral of time, which really is not even stretched out. It's really a collapsed little thing, like a big ball. But anyway, that's kind of how I see it, and so the lives we live, are in synchronicity with the lives we have lived. They're kind of like lived at the same time, though they be 1,000, 1 billion years apart. It's still the same essential life, given, in a whole lot of different ways, but the same essential life, time after time after time, because there's really only one life lived, and that's the one we're in right now.
Yep.
It's true. This is it. Right now is all there is. The rest of it, the past is bullshit. The future is a maybe. The reality's right now. We create the future right now. We recreate the past right now. It's just right here, how we are right now. That's what matters. Yesterday's gone away, and for whatever impact it had, it's over with, it's done, and we can release it. Take the value from it, give back the bullshit, because that's good fertilizer, and let it compost, and just grow and blossom. Now, what's here is now. This is all there really is. This is where time collapses and expands too. This is where creation collapses and expands. All comes together right here in this moment, right now, baby.
I was fortunate. Somehow, after many years, I remembered the focus I had as a kid. Kids are always live in the moment. It's everything's right there. And somehow I remembered that. And that somehow has brought a lot of, a lot of that wisdom, a lot of the ability to be in the moment. I remember walking into a room and I could feel the energy of the room. And I did that a lot. My mom thought I was silly, but I could feel the room. Or if I met someone new, I could feel their their energy. At that time, I didn't know that's what it was. I thought I was just feeling their personality or whatever. But I can look back now, and so now all these years later, I can remember that, and that's really helped me a lot. I'm pretty good at living in the moment, at staying in the moment right now, right here.
Awesome.
A guy the other day told me life is a meditation. And the more I think about it, it's just, well, yeah, if you're living in the moment, if you're living in the present, it is a meditation.
Yeah,
And
well, it's that little child that you find that is so fascinated with the world around us that you're beginning to remember. Uh, that's the one that lives it. That's where it is. And that's where all meditation leads, is back to that little child inside of each and every one of us that's still living in that paradise, that hasn't been shocked out of it yet.
Right.
And just like, and really that's how we undo all the effects of time, is right there. Is if we can embrace that child and let it be us now, as this person we are now, like you say, you find wisdom, you find strength, you find empowerment, you find life smoothing out, everything starts to make fucking sense finally. I mean, it's not that you won't have some difficulty, but compared to where you were, it's a breeze, man.
Yeah, it's amazing the way my life's changed. I won't go into any detail, but alcohol and narcotics were a big thing in my life for about 40 years. So I'm still working out of that. I'm on the marijuana maintenance program, is what everybody kids me, but I haven't drank in a long time. I don't take the narcotics anymore. But I was in some deep, dark holes and through the years. And so my life now, every day, is just it's amazing life. Just beautiful. To be able to be conscious and aware and feel and it's just amazing. So, I've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. The other day when we were gathered at my friend's house there for breakfast, and you put a comment down under that picture I posted, said I should have been there. I should have put one under that and told you, but you are. I mean, come on, baby, you're already here.
I was there.
It won't be long for this.
It sure felt like I was there seeing that picture, man. It did. It looked like, oh yeah, that's just. Yeah.
It's just starting to happen. These are some of the first steps. It's just starting to happen, but the family reunion's on at our place here, baby. Awesome. I know you'll be here for too long. You're a big part of it. How could we ever leave you, man? Of course, you'll be here too.
Wonderful. Great. I actually do. I've got some little plans on the back of my head for going to southern Colorado. So, hopefully, it won't be that much longer.
That's where we are, South Central Colorado, baby. Yep. That's us, we're right there, We're not 100 miles. We're about 80.
I think I Google Earthed you about the first time I talked to you and found out you were in Crestone. I had to find out where Crestone was, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of an isolated little place, but it's a fascinating community here.
It's beautiful.
It's got idiosyncrasies just like anywhere else. We have our disharmonious elements here and some real idiots too. But well, we're all in it together. And this place, far and away has more of a chance at providing you with the realities than anywhere else that I know of. It's just got the energy, it's just got the vibe, and it's got the right amount of tribe. I mean, there's enough tribe here already to hold the energy, so no matter what conflicting energies there may appear to be here in this moment in time, it's really like there is no opposition here. This place was meant to flow into life, and that's what it's going to do.
Yeah. I believe you. Yeah. I'm hoping I can get my flow going down that way. So That'd be
Well,
awesome.
I'm putting out the vibe. I mean, this is a target date because I think it could conceivably happen sooner, but I'm saying June 21, everybody. That's the next solstice. That's the summer solstice.
That's summer.
Let's party down in Crestone. And I'm saying, I'm not giving you any particular place to gather or putting together bands and shit like that. It's just let's come and party with the locals here and share the wealth of our love and unify and maybe gather in little circles and help recreate the reality. We can camp out. There's lots of good camping places here. We'll find places to go and be and hang out. But just come to Crestone on the 21st and let's party.
21st. I'll write it
We'll,
down. Yeah, I've
yeah,
got it. I've got a
yeah.
tent, man. I can do the tent thing, and that would
Right,
be
and
so much fun.
we'll make if I have to make deal with local ranchers here, we'll make sure there's bedding down place for everybody. But it's going to be outdoors, it's going to
That's
be
fine.
camp.
That's
Yep.
fine. June
But
21st.
I'll do something like that. I'll make sure the people can be accommodated if a good crowd shows up.
Sure.
Usually when I do things like this, the crowd's like maybe 30 or 50 people. The last time it was lighter than that, but they were beautiful and we all had a great time. But
Oh, good. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't have no idea what will show up this year. I'm just going to wait and see. If
All right.
you know, if some powerful things happen in the visible world, well, then we'll probably get half of the eternity that shows up, besides all the population on the
Yeah. If
planet.
I lose my internet, I know where I'm heading.
You darn right, baby. And
Yeah, I know where to head.
another reason why I'm getting flying machines because they don't have to rely on roads to get you somewhere. Things
Yeah.
are things are changing in this world, and it's always not going to be the way it is right this minute. You see,
Boy, I know. I know.
you know that
I'm
interim place might take a little creativity to live through.
well, that's what the name of the game is, isn't it? Is creativity.
Yeah, you blessed rights, you blessed rights. That's just what we got to be is creativity in motion,
Yeah.
and who help.
Yeah.
Well,
When you live in the mountains like we do, you got to be creative. You got to figure out how to make things work with what you got. So,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
Geez, I lived far more remote than this over in Oregon, and boy, you plan your trips to town, and hopefully you don't forget anything. You write down lists and everything. Said.
If you forget, it has to wait till next time.
Yep, it doesn't. You either make do with something else or you do without. You just let
Yep.
that chore wait until the equipment's ready. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do. And
Yeah,
and laugh and be grateful that you're going to have another trip to town.
yeah, yeah. Well, those are always fun too, but they can be a little wearing, like you say, when you're not used to
Oh, yeah.
being in the inner. And you got to stay down there, and you got to go to Walmart and Tractor
Yeah.
Supply, and all these
Yeah.
places with those freaking neon lights and no windows. It's like
I was
and the
just
internet.
telling my girlfriend that, so I stay up here in my little secluded home here. And when I have to go out and go downtown to Rapid to Walmart and stuff, it's almost like culture shock. I forget that,
Yeah.
oh God, this is life. Oh yeah, there's life. It's real. Oh yeah. But yeah,
I
it
realize.
I wouldn't trade it for nothing though, living up here.
Oh no, you live in one of the most beautiful areas in the whole U.S. One of and a high energy area to boot. Oh,
Boy,
that whole
I
area.
don't know. I don't know. There's some strange things going on in the hills. I don't know.
Oh, I know, but there's always that bullshit, and because it's near a reservation, there's always going to be craziness too. I understand, but baby, the land there still has one of the highest vibes. I mean, God, I love it. I know they're
Uh,
polluting the hell out of it now. They're coal mining the shit out of it over that way.
Oh,
Oil
not
rig-
so much anymore. They're more now. Everything is about tourism now. Everything, you know.
far out, far out.
And yeah, but it's not quite the same as it was when I would come up here when I was a little girl.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's totally different. The pine beetles really did a number on the hills.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, so it's the beauty, it's here. It's just going to take a while to see it again.
Yeah, to bring it back. That's what I
Bring it
mean.
back.
They commercialized the hell, and they still are
Yeah,
up in North Dakota, not but 150, 200 miles north of you. There, big old
yeah.
oil rushes on, and they're just tearing the hell out of that land. You know.
Yeah, at Williston, but it was booming there for a while. But from what I hear, there's a lot of them moving out now. They can't
Yeah.
bring the pipeline down through.
Yep, yep. And the price has gone soft on them too, so there's
Yeah,
not so much incentive to do it anymore, you know.
yeah.
I I think the reason why the price is going soft might have something to do with the revelations that are coming forward here in the next few weeks and months, you know, where, you know, people will realize that a scalawaggy little government's been holding back free energy from the people since before Tesla even was born. I
Hmm.
mean, you know, there's been some interest at work here that have had a lot of advantage over the people, or at least thought they did, you know. So they've been
Hmm.
holding back on this. This whole oil industry never had to happen, along
No,
with
it
the
didn't. No, it didn't. And I think you're right. You know, I uh, I do think that the gas, you know, they're seeing what's coming. They're seeing what's coming. The oil industry,
yep, yep.
you know, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's finally time, man. I mean, you know, we shut down all the secret shit. Now we'll shut down the not so secret shit,
Then
you know?
yeah, the crap.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I was raised in Wyoming with oil rigs all around me. I lived a block from a refinery, you know, when I was growing
yeah.
up. So,
Mhm.
you know, it was all about oil and gas then.
Yep, yep. Yeah, well, that's mainly Wyoming. You know, the Wyoming Cattlemen's Association back in the day when there was all the Johnson County wars and all that shit. It was really about mineral development, and the Queen's still holding her rights. You know, she still owns a great big chunk of Wyoming somewhere down there. Great big huge ranch. Prince Philip goes over there and parties every now and then. You know, but it's like 4 million acres or 40 million or
Good
something.
Lord.
And she was like the primary interest in the Wyoming's cattlemen. So still is, you know. I knew who was it? I got all embroiled in that shit. I think it was in the 80s. I knew some people involved in that. You know, one of the sheriffs in Green River got killed by the machine, and it brought a whole bunch of the Ed Cantrell. He got killed by the machine by one of his own officers, but it was the machine that did it. You know, but it's that
Oh
same
wow.
machine. It turned out some people did some investigating, goes right back to the Wyoming Cattlemen's Association again, which goes right back to the Queen of England because that's her money and her interest that controls it. So
Yeah.
now you know who owns Dick Cheney.
I was just gonna say then Cheney's gotta be in there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure he's part of that recipe. He has to
Oh
be.
yeah, yeah. I went to school with some of his relatives, and the whole family was just. I don't know. They had
Alien when they're
well, they
alien.
had their nose in the air. You know, they lived as millionaires, and
Yeah. Yep. That's what allows them to do what they do to other people because they think they're superior because they got the coin, and now because they got the coin, then all of a sudden they find out they have the blood. Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
fun.
like a friend of mine became a very big spiritual person in a certain spiritual organization that's centered around Nepal and that area over there and that end of the world. And he was a big multimillionaire, so he had all this room full of holy furniture and stuff he carried around with him. I mean, he was a big deal, just like all the other guys were, you know. And then one day something happened in the stock market or something. I don't know what it was, but he lost all his money, you know. The next day was no longer a Rinpoche. The most divinely spiritual beings are sometimes the worst contaminated by the interest of money. It's funny how that goes sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh God. But you know, even the contamination of money can be a great thing. Look what it did for MJ. If it wouldn't have been for people's greed, she would never got anywhere, man. But the dumb sons of bitches outlawed it, made it appealing, and the criminals all started rubbing their hands together and saying, God, we can make some money on that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. They're still making money on it.
Oh, that's why we need to legitimize it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It changes the whole complexion of it. I'm seeing that here in Redstone. We're going through that adjustment now. The criminal interests that have controlled it here, you know, basically are having to back down. They either modify and become more legitimate themselves, or they get the fuck out of the business because they don't belong here anymore. You know, they don't fit.
Right.
You know, it's crazy.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. It is. And, you know, some are saying, oh, it won't be legal in our lifetime. And I'm saying bullshit. I think it'll be legal in the next couple of years. Because
legal here, baby. It's legal here.
But wouldn't that be a really good move for Obama at the end of his term? To federally legalize marijuana. I mean, that would be a voting point.
Well, that would sure be better than what he's done to us on other fronts. So
exactly.
He needs to redeem his little ass.
Redeem himself, yeah.
Yeah, you betcha. That'd be a very gracious thing to do on his way out.
I think it would. I think it'd be an awesome thing for him to do. He owes us that much.
Well, while he's at it, he could probably outlaw Dick Cheney too, so we wouldn't have to put up with him anymore. We could exile him to Antarctica with the rest of them, you know.
Firing squads are cheaper. Well, Grandpa, you know what? I got to get some other things done before I go to sleep tonight.
Well, that's a doggone shame. Well, listen, we appreciate you being with us here. I thought OG would be calling in, but she must have run into a technical clink or something, a difficulty or something. I should go over and look at my. Well, let's see. Let's look at the phones over here. See if I got any messages there. That doesn't say no. There's no messages there. So let's see if she's over on the other side there and tried to talk to me there. Oh, where is that? Right there. No, she must be off the computer now. You know, she's down there in Arizona, you know, and, you know, communications can be real spotty in those circumstances. What did it do to me? It took me away from there. Put me back there, you little bugger. There we are. There we go. Too many screens up, man.
Yeah, I guess you do. Yeah. Well, this has been really awesome. We got to talk and chat and visit, and awesome.
Well, now you know how it feels to sit by the campfire with old Grandpa. Now I know how it feels to sit with you, darling. You know.
Yeah, feels like I'm sitting in my living room with an old friend.
You doggone right, baby.
Yeah.
Grandpa, you know, I'm everybody's grandpa. And with some people, I'm a lot worse than that.
Well, I've been smoking with you too, with my pipe, but.
Right. I just rolled this joint really quick before the show, and it's it's just this divine little Kush, man. Oh, it's great.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's what I'm smoking, is some Kush.
We're getting to be pot connoisseurs down here in Colorado. Yep. You know, turn our nose up at blueberry now and say that's not quite enough.
No, gotta have the Kush. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I grew some Kush a couple of years ago. Boy, that's some rocket to the moon kind of stuff. I like it.
I like it.
It's a nice, you know, it's real powerful, but it's a nice mellow high, and it'll take you places. I like it.
It helps me flow through the day.
Absolutely, man. I tell you, you know, everybody thinks it makes you so lazy. Some people I know can't go to work until they're high.
Well, I know a lot of people that way.
Yep, way it works, man.
All right, Grandpa, you have a great evening.
Big hug, Mary Lou. It's good to get a little more acquainted with you here in the 3D and the energetic realms. You know,
you betcha. I feel your heart a lot, so I know you're there. And I'll try next week to get in there in the morning at least a couple times. I've got to slow down a little bit on a couple things. So
I've been on a tear the last few days. I've been playing a lot of rock and shit, and
Yeah.
then I drop little love bombs here and there, and man alive, it's been a wild one, man. It's
That there we go, my kind of place.
I tell you, it's just fun as all get. And it's that little bar out in the country you never thought you'd see, where
Yeah.
all the chicks and guys hang out, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I think I've been to a couple of them. I'm sure.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm sure
see
you
you soon, okay, sweetie?
big hug, baby. I love
Big
you.
hug.
Take care. Well,
Love
you
you
bet.
too.
We'll hook up real soon, one of these days. I
That
swear. Well, somehow,
sounds
some.
sounds like a plan. I'm ready.
Okay, baby. I am too. We'll see you then. If we don't see
Okay.
you, soon, okay. Thanks,
Night.
darling. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, we'll see you. That's Mary Lou from up there in good old Pensacola, which is like right up there by South Dakota, which is right there below North Dakota. Hey, I'm glad to hear the oil thing is slowing down a little. Man, I'm sorry to those guys getting laid off and everything, but guess what? You probably shouldn't have taken that job in the first place. But here we are moving into our new existential reality in only the way that we can possibly be doing it, you know, and that means like from our heart, from our intelligence, which is not the mind. The mind is a useful, functional, computer type unit, you know, which contains great life and great intelligence, yes. But the facilitator of the intelligence, like just like the facilitator of the computer, is a human person. That's you, your heart. That's who drives your soul, which drives your mind. You see, they all work together. It's a unity thing, and usually it's triangulated in some way. Usually it's represented in a pyramidic energy in some way. But it all comes together, you know, a single unified intelligence. That's when you know thinking. That's when you know thinking, which creates. You see, so this is what we do here, not just by advocating for MJ, by you know helping you understand a little bit of this way, that little nuance and that little nuance. And God, it was so sweet to hear from Mary Lou, wasn't it? Yeah, babies, you know, I've known this woman for a few years now, but we've never really had a chance to talk like that, just chat on the chatter room and stuff. That was awesome, man. So thanks for being here and providing the opportunity for she and I to chit chatter a little bit. You know, this whole family is coming together, man. These really sincere and divine hearts that I've known for several years now are coming back to life. And babies, we're starting to unify in a very civilized way, something far more civil than we've ever seen on this earth before, in this earth reality, you know. And because we can do this, and it's not just me and a bunch of chicks, it's a whole family, you know. But anyway, because we can do this, there's unity for everyone. I mean, it's happening, babies. It'll bring us together physically one way or the other, whether it's June 21 for a fun little party here, a little camp out and a great time, or it's a reunion with the universe, because it's all the same thing. You know, if you come party here on June 21, you're going to be reuniting with the universe like we do every year here, every day here, really every moment. But this will be something you want to see, something you want to be. You know, it's a coming together. It's a unity with the stars and the sky and the earth, you know, and it's in a place where such magic can happen. It's a powerful, powerful energy here. Just like there is all up and down these mountains, you know, these great rocky mountains, you know, but this area in particular has a nice little energy, you know, and it's very particular to this place, you know, and this basic area that we live in. I don't make it Crestone exclusive. That's why I call it Crestonia, the greater Crestonia, which could include all the way down to Taos and all the way up into Wyoming somewhere, you know, Wind River Mountains included, you know. Could go even further than that. Sometimes I wonder if the energy field doesn't run from the, tip of South America to the petering out point up there in Alaska, just beyond McKinley. You know, that's where the range finally peters down. It's the Rockies are really that mountain range that spans the continent. It's a continental shelf, you know, like that. You know, I don't know how many of you remember there was a time on this earth, and yeah, it was shit. As far as time goes, a long time ago, but there's a simultaneous memory that'll help you recover it. But there was a time when the earth was a single continent surrounded by oceans. You know, there was no great dividing ocean. There were some rivers, of course, but there was no great dividing ocean. You know, there was only ocean surrounding us that just complemented and added to the atmosphere of love. There were cities here then that were like huge, thousands of miles wide and thousands of miles long. I mean, you know, and this was just in the beginnings of humanity when we first, you know, arrived here as persons and began to the human play. Is before we even devolved down to more of a desert type dwelling thing. We'll talk about the whole history of it as we go along here in different stages and through different stories. You know, I'm not much of one for being a consistent and chronological person because I live kind of loose and free of time. And therefore, my stories tend to meander around in time a bit because they're all the same time. Simultaneous, you know. The old lives just keep going round and round. And finally, we get to this point where you know, you've stretched it far enough, you've achieved the understanding you came to receive and the experience to go with it. And you're right back to this now moment where everything starts. It's always the beginning. That's what's simultaneous up through the spiral of time. Isn't it amazing how that works? Isn't it amazing where a little saint like Mary Jane can take you when you'll let her? You know, when you move past your prejudices and the indoctrinated ideas they've fed you, you know, about the danger and the hazard of Mary Jane. What a crock of horse shit that was. We knew that when I was just a kid. We knew these sons of bitches were a bunch of thieving, lies, and scoundrels. You know, and their attitude towards pop proved it. And their cops right along with it, man. Talk about gung-ho Gestapo. Talk about the Nazis winning the war. Well, they sure as hell did in this country. And all across this earth, too. It's God blessed shame. But yet, wow. We wouldn't be where we are now without all that. So I reckon it worked its way out. And like I say, now we've destabilized the buggers. You know, we've taken away a lot of their secret weaponries and bases and shit, and a lot more to go. You know, the more we like allow empowerment in ourself, the more we embrace the way of Mary J., the opening of the heart, the divine experience of truthful love coming forward powerfully from your person because it's innocent. Born of the innocent child, you could never really put away. You kept it here. You kept it alive. You still live in that paradise. And you see what innocent eyes can do. They create. You know, that eye and those two and that eye there too, the heart's eye. It all sees. It all creates. It's all unified in its creation, you see. Now, that may be a little bit beyond some of you. That may be a little bit juvenile for others that, you know, already living beyond such dimensions. But maybe it's for most of us, it's a useful and essential awakening tool I just shared with you there, you know, to help you understand the presence of your being in person here. So you see why what is happening, you know. You might well be Dick Cheney tuned into this show tonight. I'm sorry to keep mentioning this guy, but for some reason I've got an obsession with him lately. Well, because he's probably one of the most visibly evil in recent times that's been putting his foot forward and obviously has his hand in all the fraud involved in the wars we're involved in the tragedy that gave him the excuse to go make wars, you know. Shoot, you know, and the people that were sacrificed there. I think we talked about that last time. What a tremendous contribution to humanity that was on the part of the innocent, and what a screw up that was. Well, in a sense, but you can't screw up. But what a screw up that was in the part of the economic interests that sought to rule the world, and dominated through fear and warfare and terror and shit like that, and make money because of it. Oh, wow. The I mean, this is something I saw too when I know you did too, when it's just little kids were sitting here looking at doctors and wondering why they charge money in hospitals. I mean, you see families wiped out, because they got a lung disease or something, somebody in their family. I mean, it doesn't, you see people raising money for charities to pay the doctors in hospitals. You don't see the doctors in hospitals very often. Now, they do at times, thank God, but for the most part, they don't give their services away. If you want a special rate, you better be somebody with a lot of money in the bank so they can just keep milking you another way. You see, I was just so, and even back when I was a kid, it was a whole lot more honest than it is now in that way too. But I just couldn't believe people making money off other people's misery. And then I began to see this church thing that controlled everything around me as a money making enterprise too. I couldn't believe it. I'm going, huh? What do they need to do that for? And as time goes on, you find out this church, this sweet, humble little Christian, Christ-loving organization, is like owners of Union Pacific and of UNI Sugar and a whole bunch of other stuff in this reality. They own interest probably in Wall Street and shit. I mean, they're big. They got billions, and trillions, and it's like, wow. How did that happen, and why for? I mean, what does the church need money like that for? I mean, are they healing the sick and raising the dead with it, or they're providing for the poor? Well, they do a better job than most, but they still don't do a very good job. They really don't quite have it because, they're in it for the money and the power. How much influence can you have in this world? It's just, the whole thing, and it's just like the governments, the U.S. government, same way, overbloated piece of shit. I'm sorry to say it, but it is, and just a goddamned overbloated piece of shit, to be really plain about it. But it's something we allowed. It's something we created. So, I mean, I don't say that in a judgmental way. I'm just saying what I smell there, seeing what I smell there, and it is, man. And I've been in cow corrals that were far more aromatic than that. I mean, Washington's the biggest pen of BS ever assembled anywhere. Well, in Wall Street, right along with it, of course. They're one and the same. What people don't see or understand in an economic way, it's not the billionaires. They got some, obviously they got some influence. They got a lot of marbles, but they aren't the ones that have all the marbles. Who has all the marbles? Who took all the wealth from the people or is trying to take the rest of it? Who did that? Who's trying to impose their iron will on the people so they'll be afraid and won't start a war when they find out what's really been happening here? And what a big thief they've had a yoke around their shoulders and their neck. In fact, it's been a chokehold on the whole of humanity. I mean, if I was in the police forces and the military that have supported these mother truckers, I'd be heading for the exit door about now. And I'd be taking that uniform off as soon as I was out of sight and finding some civilian clothes real quick. And that's what I'd be doing. Now, I'm not telling anybody else what to do. Shoot, stay where you are. Maybe that's where you're needed, But I can tell you, you ain't getting away with it anymore. And if you've been one of those that's been involved in those secret programs, man, bail while you can. But then again, maybe you're needed there. Maybe you're one that's going to hold things together and put back a truthful reality, Bring forward here the kind of reality that we really truthfully already live in. If you want to see that reality, if you want to be that reality, if you're having any trouble whatsoever with this, stick with your MJ. And in the MJ smoke, feel your heart, pray. You know, I mean, it's not like something you conjure up. Oh, God. No, it's like you just feel the energy of the heart saying, oh, please, let me be alive. Let me move beyond the paradigm of death. Let me be alive. And babies, you will find yourself coming back to life. Just as easy as that. Now, if you'll pardon me for a second, I'm going to light this cigarette. I'm going to step over to my coffee pot and get a little cup of coffee here, and I'll be right back. So just hang on. Hate to do that to you. I probably got break music there somewhere, but I don't want to break. It's only going to take me 5-10 seconds. Be right back. You know, and I'll keep talking to you too. Say hi to Okie sitting there on the sofa couch. That's my little love dog, Okie Wan Kenobi, who is what? The wisest dog in the universe. And why? Because he knows. Aren't you, Okie? The wisest dog in the whole universe. Yes, he is. He's my buddy. I don't know if you can see me on camera, right? I guess you can. You can't see Okie, but he's my bro here, man. He's a little tiny guy, but he's a big heart, man. You know, when we say wisest dog in the whole universe, it doesn't mean he's any wiser than any other dog. It just means that all dogs are wise. Got something to share with you guys. Maybe you better pay attention. Oh, babies, how we doing there? We are at, okay, good. Another 24 minutes. I wish my baby would call in. Let's see if we can get a hold of her, shall we? And when I say my baby, well, I say that about you too. So I understand it's a loose term when Grandpa says it. I'm married and engaged and dating and blessed by all. You know what I mean, babies? All of us. I'm very blessed by that. Let's see if this lady's around anywhere. Maybe we can get her on that. It may or may not go through. Let's see if it does.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless.
Well, it's not going to do that, so we tried. It's always fun to watch an old man dial a telephone, especially a cell telephone, man. You know, I can still remember when I was a kid. Let's see, what would I have been? I was in the Jefferson school, so I was probably in kindergarten or first grade, or maybe it was sixth grade. I think it was sixth grade. Yeah, I was about 11 years old. They brought a great big old dial telephone thing to the school and put it up on the stage. I mean, this thing was a telephone dial that stood about 6 feet tall, you know, a rotary dial, you know, and the dude was there from the telephone company because they were putting in dial telephones in our town, you know. Well, hell, the next thing you know, they'd be paving our streets, and sure as hell they did that the year after, too. I can remember when the street in front of our house got, you know, paved over, you know. We finally had something beside a gravel road and a dial telephone to go with it. But I kind of miss the old telephones. As much fun as it was to play with the dials, and there was a certain anonymity in there if you wanted to be a kid playing on the telephone. But we'll talk about that some other time. But, you know, our number, like, you know, back in the day before the dial phones came in was 7. Operator comes on the phone, number, please. You tell her 7 and you get my place. Then it became a big old long 6-digit, then a 9-digit number, man. You know, it's like, wow, how rapidly we changed from number 7. But yeah. And here we are now, man. Cell phones and technology you carry with you in your pocket. You got the internet in your pocket. You can go, like, you know, and speak to people around the world sitting in the front seat of your car talking to your cell phone. I mean, you know, it's pretty incredible, you know, when you think about it. But why does such stuff exist in a world where none of this was really necessary, that the whole industrial age could have been prevented because we had the technology to move beyond it? Well, you know, certain interests felt the people's heart just wasn't ready. They couldn't allow the people to have it so easy. They felt shortchanged, cheated, because they'd worked so hard at their skullduggery through all them centuries, you know, to enslave humanity, and they thought it only fair they get a chance at it, you know. So out of such discussions comes, excuse me, I'm laughing so hard it hurts. I'll just turn the scratch down here and get a good cough out. Hang on a sec. Man, they just, they kind of lost it back there 2, 3, 400. I don't know exactly where it was, but it's back there a ways. Like I said, it's way before Tesla's time. Tesla was just a test to see if they really would or would not, would continue to refuse. You see, you got to see this whole thing's been managed by the angelic realm from the beginning. So that's our managers. That's what keeps us from going too far, and it has done since the beginning. But make a long story short, that a few hundred years ago, let's say, there was technology introduced here that would allow everyone to be free, and the forests and the oceans to be unpolluted and everything. And we could all live a happy and natural life until we could reach the point where it became more natural for us to be creative. And we didn't need technology anymore to do it, you see. Well, that technology was very similar to what we see in a more rudimentary form before us here in the computers and the cell phones. Because it's just reminding us these computers, the internet, the cell phones, and all of that are just reminding us of our connection that we already have, of the technology that already exists inside of each and every one of us. We're both hardwired and softwired. We're wireless, and we're connected with all of essential reality. We're a flow, and we flow together, whether you know it or not, you see. But that's what these are reminding us of. This is the point they're bringing us back to, because there will come a time, obviously, because it's based on fallible technologies and electronics that may or may not be real. And everybody takes all this shit for granted. Like there's always going to be polarities, and there's always going to be neutrons and protons and electrons and shit like that. It isn't necessarily so. You have to remember we live in a matrix. A divine movie. There is one reality in creation that we can see and know that's real. Everything else beyond that is philosophy until you live it. The one thing we know is real is that little seed of light there at the center of life that begins everything. Well, everything is made of that little seed of life because it makes more seeds and more light, and pretty soon you got a human being or a tree or a tobacco plant or something on your hands. I mean, it forms itself as it will according to the dictates of the divine intelligence. And that divine intelligence sneaks in consciously and remains in some plant presences, which are a gift. In the same way that we can eat and consume of a plant and gain a benefit from it, well, we can also indulge in it in a more mystical aspect, honor it with our heart, with the tribal intelligence, and flow it into let it allow you to flow you into a little more of an let it share that essence love that it's got. That's where plants like MJ and even tobacco come from, because tobacco has a special energy all its own. A bad rap as it's gotten since the Mormons took over. I'm afraid they have. God, I never seen a country so anti-cigarette all at once. When the whole country embraced it not 20, 30 years ago. Come on, guys. Shit. You're a bunch of namby-pamby little wah-wahs. But anyway, let's get that little pettiness out of the way. And understand that tobacco, too, is a prayerful plant. That's why it exists here, and that, maybe the European interests adopted some native interests in maybe an unusual way, but they adopted them just the same and became a part of the larger prayer of tobacco, which is for what? Regeneration. Why? Tobacco is the original plant, the first leaf to grow from the ground. According to legend, anyway, according to my heart, that's real. And so I understand and accept that, and I honor it as such. And I know it exists to help me be a more prayerful being, to pray the transforming prayer every time I smoke a cigarette, and I do. You see? Transformation's in everything, and it is about becoming elemental and growing from the elemental to the glorious and spectacular beings that we truthfully are. The finer aspects of creation, the true creators in creation, in the sense that we are an extension of the mother love heart, which then makes us that creator and creation both together, unified in the singularity of the one person in each and every one of us. The same life in all that lives, that little speck of light, that ocean of love that is that little speck of light, extending itself into all forms of creation. That's what unifies us. Now do you see what I mean? Can you conceive of a world where there's not the tribal preoccupations and divisions? Because you see, as you begin to remember not just this life and what you are in this life, but what makes you there, what you've been in the past as well. Again, the idea of simultaneous lives, so the same energy being expressed in each life, basically, all the way through. The same life being lived, just in different places in time, all the way through. But you've played both sides of the fence, the good guy, the bad guy, the ugly guy, the rich guy, the pretty girl, all of that shit. You've played, you've been, and then some. And as you begin to remember this, tribal identity goes out the window. There ain't no tribe anymore except humanity. You see, we're a singular being in person called human, which has become humanity, the colorful beings that create. And are grateful to have an Aunt Mary, just like my Aunt Mary when I was a kid, one of the most generous souls I ever met. Well, here she is in plant form in the good old MJ. Now, how can any resistance, how can any intelligence stand in the way of the legitimization of Mary Jane? You tell me, babies, how can they? I mean, is the lie that strong that it overcomes truth? I mean, we've always been taught it's the other way around while the lies took over, right? You don't think they believed it, did they? No, they didn't. We do more than believe it. We see truth. That's what's real. You can't lie to us anymore. And from us you can no longer steal. You got nothing to take. We are creation. You see, we've invented that technology you guys tried to hold back from us 300-400 years ago and keep for yourselves and so forth. I mean, you think you're so damn smart and that everything you've done is based on historical principles and precipices and stuff like that, when in reality you wouldn't know your history if it bit you on the ass, let alone the powers that be inside of each human that lives. You've treated yourselves pretty unnaturally. You've treated humanity very unnaturally. Yet humanity, it really doesn't hold a grudge. It might be pissed for a minute, but it doesn't hold a grudge. So you're welcome to be a part of the revolution, because you are. It's time to loosen up, not tighten up. You go batten down the hatches will cave in on top of you. If that's the way you want to go, well, so be it. It's your choice. Might be better, though, just to allow yourself to be the love bunny that you are. Because you'll see that bygones are bygones when you're living right now. You're not Dick Cheney back in the past. You're not Bulldog Puke Face in the future either. You're now this person, here in this moment, coming back to life in the presence of your heart. You know what it feels like to care about yourself first and foremost, but then to care for those who mean the most to you. And extending from there into finding out that you really care about everybody and everything, that it's all your ball of wax, your little oyster, And you're here to do some creative things with it. So we expect to see some real powerful shit going on here, kids. You can't be hiding out any longer from your own reality. You get a little MJ in your hands and let her help you along the way, babies. You blossom. You come home. She's not a requirement, however. And the main thing is just to be a little more open and willing to see beyond the bullshit that you've accepted as reality. Because it is bullshit. I'm telling you, babies. And it's proven that to you again and again this week already. Are you going to pay attention, or are you just going to let it happen until the bridge caves right out from under you and you're free falling? I mean, babies, it can happen. It does happen. And it is happening now from under the reality. We've been driving across a long old bridge here, and it's instead of making it to the other end, it's just caving in and we're floating. We're not going in them waters and drowning. Screw that, man. No, we like living. We're floating on to the end of it anyway, because we know how. We're creation. We don't have to accept disaster as our reality ever again. Never should have, never will. Here we go. So take yourself the red pill or the blue pill or the green pill or the black pill. I'm kind of partial to them black pills myself. They keep you awake for 3 days. No, I'm kidding. Back in the day, I would. I won't now. And back then, I didn't get very much of it either. Mostly I kept myself awake just through energy work and coffee. I didn't even know it was energy work at the time, man. It's amazing how powerful we are in our own life, but we don't realize it till we've come to these places like now where you can kind of start to see all that magic that you just kind of took for granted. See, wow, my little creative heart's been active in all of it. That's why it didn't go that way. I didn't die. I didn't do this, didn't do that. She didn't do that, blah, 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 because it always could have been worse. And you don't have to look far to find an example of that, do you? Well, baby, now we're getting better and better and better and better. And I encourage you to tune into the Coyote Medicine Show on the Hazy Radio Network over there on, well, I think it's another live stream. Anyway, it's hazyradio.com. And just get on over there and click up the chat, because you can chat with us while we're on the air there. And 5 days a week, 5 hours a day, live and spontaneous from 9,000 foot high in the Rocky Mountain sky, same as this Mary Jane show, from the spaceship love, baby. You betcha. I know last week I showed you a few members of the crew here. There's more that are scattered around the house, Maybe we'll introduce them to you a little bit at a time here and there. Just like we're going to introduce you to some characters here in Crestone, Colorado. Some of those that are very key and instrumental to the awakening that goes on. Some that don't feel themselves to be anything at all like that. And so on and so forth. We got quite the cosmic mix here. We're going to aim to mix it up with them, those that will be, willing to share themselves on a piece of video celluloid. Video celluloid. I'm going to remember that one. It's a good one. I like it. The video movie of love, baby. But you see, we're here each and every day to help us reawaken into our empowerment. I share it in a lot of different ways. You can get an idea off of some of my tapes over on YouTube there. I got, a bunch of them uploaded there. They go back a few years. You want to have some fun, go back a few years and see what a doofus I was then compared to where I am now, You start to understand change and flow. I don't even dare go back and look at those old ones myself. I'd be too goddamn embarrassed to continue. I was not that bad. But we do change and we grow tremendously as life flows through us, you see. And this is the time, and I'm living proof of it, baby. I'm a trailblazer. I'm here saying, come on, babies, let's get with the program, I'm allowing as much inside of myself as can possibly be in this moment of now. And because I do, I got something to share with you, don't I? And it gets better and better, you see. So you want to be here with Mary Jane Gateway to Paradise Friday nights. You want to be here day in and day out with old Grandpa as much as you can anyway in the morning there. I start at 5 in the morning here in the Mountain West, run for 5 hours. That's 10 a.m. in the Mountain West, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. So because of that, because it gets over so early on the West Coast and mountain areas, well, then I play a 2-hour replay of the day before show, usually right after my regular show. So you actually get 7 hours of Grandpa. It's kind of like where I was last summer when I was doing 8 hours a day live, man. But this time, we're finally getting there because 5 hours is just right for a morning medicine show. And 2 hours of replay, well, that's like a cherry and some nuts and a little bit of chocolate syrup on top. Makes it taste good and look right, Because you can go back and revisit the place you went yesterday or the day before, whatever happened to be playing there, I just, as with everything, I just do it spontaneous, when the spirit moves me, the heart moves me to play this song or that song or replay that program or that. That's what I do, man. I just follow that flow, and that's what gives the Coyote Medicine Show its varied and essential flavor, because it really is different than anything you've ever seen or known on radio or even television before, We're breaking new ground, breaking new trail, and that's why we had to go to the internet with it because, out there in the industrial world, they're not, well, they're getting warmed up now because of what we're doing on the internet, you see. Ultimately, all of this media merges. And then we merge beyond the media, you see. And we just put it in museums and look at it every now and then and say, wow, what fun. Just like we would do with an old dial telephone or an old crank telephone like we had when I was a kid, You'd pick it up. Well, in our town, we didn't have the crank. When you got up the canyon, you had to crank it when you was on the phone up the canyon, But down in the valley where I live, you go to use the phone, you just pick it up and the operator would hear a buzz on her end and pick it up and ask you for the number. But up the canyon now, they didn't know you was picking up the phone because it didn't work the same. Had to send an electrical pulse down the line to let the operator know to answer you that you were there, That's how archaic, pretty close to Marconi still. When I was a kid in 50-something, 52 or something like that, it's still like that. And it was like when I was 10, 11 years old, four-dial telephones came in and paved streets. So our main drag was and some of the other streets, but our little street there never got paved till then. Wow. Amazing. And, and you think about my parents and what they've seen and where they've been, they came around about 1910. So they came from the real pioneer roots. I mean, the automobiles were a rare thing back then. There weren't hardly any cars at all around. And what few there were pretty unreliable and flimsy. I mean, they'd fall apart. And there weren't no roads either, just wagon trails, Well, that's all changed a lot, hadn't it, I mean, Mama told me about, she could still remember when I think she was like, 13, 14 when she saw her first airplane fly over the ranch there in the mountains in Utah, man, So that would make it 1923, 24 or something like that. Amazing stuff, huh? Yeah, and they went from that to, riding in jet airplanes and flying all around the earth and everything. Let's see, I got a message. I must be getting close on time. Get my glasses back on here so I can see. Okay, 3 minutes. Good show, babies. Hey, thanks for being here once again and putting up with Grandpa's stuff. But yeah, just think about that. Man, and what we will see in our time makes that whole change seem like nothing. Very pale by comparison, Because we're moving beyond, technology or the need for industry or agriculture, where everybody's been for thousands of countless years now. In this world, we're taking the steps they could never take, or at least didn't seem to because they didn't do it. And we're moving beyond all that just because we can allow ourselves to indulge in a little Mary Jane, legal or illegal, but, don't let me advocate illegal practice in your area. Do what's legal for you. Come to Colorado if you can't do it anywhere else. Washington, California's got medical, legal bigger than anything. And I think somebody told me just the other day that California was dropping all the prohibitions on marijuana now. Recreational was coming into being there too. Well, these states have seen what happened here in Colorado. Man, they're frantic. They want to grab onto that. See, because there's been all that underground money. Now it comes up where they can grab some tax dollars out of it and stuff like Thank goodness we're moving to a place where we won't need that stuff anymore, darlings. Yep, where we can just let it go. you know, and get on with the medicine show because we're creative, don't you know? See, this is where MJ takes you, and this is who she is. She's the truth of creation. The feeling you get when you look to the west and your spirit's crying for leaving. That's Mary Jane. Thank you, Led Zeppelin. I love you guys. But that's Mary Jane, you know? Why is the spirit crying for leaving? Because it doesn't feel home yet. So Mary Jane rises up and says, okay, come on home. Here, let me take your hand. And why would you ever refuse it, you know? And why would anybody outlaw your friend Mary Jane helping you along the way? What kind of insanity is that? So babies, don't wish them bad luck. Don't go protesting down at the government houses. You know, you can gather in small groups if you want after you've got some light going on and so forth, and project your energies into those places so hearts will be changed and the people will be liberated, you know. And anybody that's behind bars, you know, unless they pose a real danger to us, will not be contained any longer, you know. I mean, you know, it was outrageous that we do this to one another in the first place. You know, thinking us to be better than them and them to be better than us, and so on and so forth, you know. You see, when we live in a place that's real, when we understand truth, there's no disconnection, therefore there's no crime, no violence, no theft. I mean, why would you steal? I mean, you can't steal what's freely given. It's all over the place. You want it? There it is. It's the way we live here as we continue to develop in this divine way. And through the help of MJ, baby. So, you know, let's dream her into being legitimate today. Dream her back to life. Give everybody what they need. Yourself included, babies. Grandpa loves you. So does the universe. So does G-Roo and all the rest of us too here at the Mary Jane Gateway to Paradise program. Spirit Wind Productions, our parent organization, and of course Grandpa's own little fun game in the morning, the Coyote Medicine Show on the Hazy Radio Network. We love you, babies. Let me see. I think we're just about out of time now. I think we're probably off the screen, it looks like, and if we're not, we ought to be. So let's see. Yeah.